Hey guys, welcome back, and in today's video we are going to be making some homemade bread. If you are a beginner at making your own homemade bread, this is the video for you. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible, and honestly, this is really simple. It's just time consuming. So if you have enough patience and you have enough time to start making a loaf of bread at home, I say go for it. I'm gonna take you through the process of what I do to assure that I get the perfect loaf of bread each and every time. If you are new to my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. I upload weekly content, so you don't want to miss a video. And always turn on the bell so you get notified every time I post. If it's your first time making bread, or if you've done it before but want to learn a new recipe, then make sure you stick around because we are going to get into it right now. For this video, I am just going to be doing a one loaf recipe, just so it's not too overwhelming for anyone watching. And I will leave both recipes down below in the description, the one we're doing today, and then the double recipe. I'm going to be using 4 cups of flour in total, and 1 being oat flour. So if you don't have oat flour that you bought from the store, you can easily make your own by just blending an entire cup of rolled oats, or whatever kind of oats you have, in a blender, and then you will have a cup of oat flour. So that is what I did today. I just blended up my oats and I have my cup of flour. Just make sure when you're doing this that the flour is 100% blended and there's no chunks of oats left in the mix. And then for the other flour, I'm just using all-purpose organic flour. This is good for all of these things, including bread. So this is what I'm using today. I will be using a little bit of coconut oil to grease my bread pan with, some salt, some pure maple syrup, and then of course the star of the show, the yeast. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is heat up 1 3/4 a cup of water. When I say heat up, I mean you don't want it to be hot, you just want it to be warm. If it's too hot, this recipe will not work. So make sure you can stick your finger in the water, do the finger test just to make sure it is not hot. You just want it like lukewarm. Once you know you have warm water in your bowl, you are going to add 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup, and then also 2 teaspoons of your yeast. Sugar is absolutely crucial when it comes to activating and feeding your yeast. So that is the key ingredient to get your yeast to do what you want it to do and assure you have a perfect loaf of bread each and every time. Once you pour that yeast into the syrup and water, you're gonna let it activate for 10 to 15 minutes, and once it's all foamy and bubbly, then you're good to go. Here's my yeast that I just poured in the water and syrup mixture. I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to show you kind of like what it looks like after that amount of time so you know what to look for. It's just going to get really foamy and bubbly, and that's when you know that your yeast is activated. While that does its thing, I am going to measure out my flour into a large bowl. So using 4 cups of flour total, I am using that 1 cup of oat flour like I mentioned before, and I'm also going to be adding the 3 cups of the all-purpose flour. You don't want your flour to be packed solid into the cup, you just want to measure it loosely into your measuring cup and then put it in the bowl that way. Once our 4 cups of flour is in the bowl, you're just going to add 1 3/4 a teaspoon of salt. So it's been about 15 minutes, and this is what my yeast is looking like. It foamed up really nice. Just gonna mix my flour and salt together. I'm just gonna add my yeast mixture into the flour, stir everything together until there's no bits of flour left, and then cover it with a warm kitchen cloth and set it somewhere warm in your house, and wait 1 to 2 hours for it to double in size. The dough thrives in a warm temperature, so that is what you want during its rising process. So if you want, you can also put your dough in the oven with the light turned on to give it a little more heat. Put it by a window where the sun is coming in. You could put it by a vent in your house, or just kind of leave it by your oven. I'm going to check it periodically to see how it's rising. The rising process will take about 1 to 2 hours depending. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. This is the first rise and I can't wait to see how it does. It's 12:41 right now. All right, so it is precisely 1:47. So it has been just over an hour since I put my dough to rise. It has doubled in size. I wanna show you guys what it looks like. I did set it on a chair next to the heater so it could rise better, and I also re-dampened the kitchen towel a few times with hot water and then wrung it out and then laid it on top just to keep that warmth in there. So now we are going to take it out of the bowl, punch it down, and knead it for at least 5 minutes. I'm probably gonna go more toward about 10 minutes depending on what it looks and feels like. But yeah, I'm gonna lay some flour down on the counter. Make sure your counter is clean. Lay some flour down, have a little bowl of flour available so you're able to sprinkle some on the dough as you're kneading because it will be sticky. But yeah, let's do this. To knead, I just take some of the dough on top and I bring it towards me like folded, and then I press it down with the palms of my hands, and then I do that in a repeated motion. So it's not hard, it's really easy to do. It's just key to have enough flour as you're doing this because it will get sticky. I have been kneading for just over 5 minutes, and I'm going to put it back in the bowl to do its second rise. I'm gonna put some flour on the bottom of the bowl just so it doesn't stick. I'm gonna put this baby in there. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to cover it once again with the kitchen cloth and let it rise roughly about another hour or until it grows in size. So this is about 40 or 45 minutes later. My dough has doubled in size, so I'm gonna punch it down once again, knead it for about 5 minutes or so like I did before, and then put it into my bread pan to rise one more time, and then we can finally put it in the oven. So let's get this guy kneaded for the second time around so he can rise in the bread pan. So I'm done kneading my bread and I just put it in my loaf pan. I am going to let him rise one more time before he gets tossed in the oven, but I am gonna cover him up with the damp kitchen towel one more time and put him down by the vent again. I have him by the heater vent because it just seems like it's been really helping him rise actually in a decent amount of time. So that's what we're gonna do now, and I'm thinking it'll be maybe 30 to 40 minutes of rise time in the pan, but we'll see. So I'll check back in with you when he is all done. Okay guys, we have made it to the point in the video where the bread has finished its final rising and it looks just like this. So when your bread is ready to go in the oven, it's going to just hit the brim of your pan and maybe even exceed the height of your pan. I preheated my oven to 375 and I'm going to stick this in there for 25 to 35 minutes or until it is nice and golden brown. So each oven's different, so just keep an eye on it, but typically mine leans towards the 35 mark, if not a little bit longer, but like I said, I'll be checking it. I am going to pop this bad boy in the oven and I am so excited. My bread just came out of the oven and I cannot wait to cut into it. It has a nice firm outside and I'm gonna let it cool in the pan for about 5 to 8 minutes. I hope this video helped you out if you were looking for a simple bread recipe. I'm gonna go finish up the butt of my bread because it's calling my name. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!